Manchester City host West Ham United. David Moyes. Is he going to be Arsenal's saint and saviour, Pete Donaldson?
I fancy it.
Oh, there you go.
I fancy it.
Just do the music. The show's done. Do the music.
I fancy it because, I mean, most professional footballers would want to tilt at this. I know it's at the Etihad, but literally anything can happen, Marcus Bella. Come on, give us something.
No, I love the way, because I went big on Fulham the other week.
I did my Betfair prediction, and I was like, I should have gone for like a draw at least.
Yeah.
A draw at the Etihad, last minute or something.
Yeah.
That would be about. Listen, I think you're getting confused by what we think would be amazing and what is actually likely to happen.
I often get caught with that.
I'm in a school exercise book drawing space cars.
You are, very much
this would
so.
be cool.
You're not doing your homework.
No.
I think that the psychological effect on those West Ham players, when the whole thing is set up for Man City to win the league, I
like it. It's
but the
grit
fact
in the
is-
oyster that makes the pearl. Come on.
They've not really got anything to play for, and I just wonder if there's a sort of how would that affect you? Because I'd like to think, you think, right, I really want to upset the party here. And I know that away support would probably want that, even though they've no affinity to Arsenal for obvious reasons. But I wonder if you're a player in that environment, you just sort of go, oh, it's just inevitable, isn't it? Just sort of subconsciously. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think also you've got to look at the profile of West Ham players and manager and ask yourself whether they would relish spoiling a party. I think David Moyes would relish spoiling a party, but I think his comments midweek have been concerning. To say the least.
It would be difficult to stop their under-14s winning the title, just to, not the match, the title.
Winning the under-14s title.
Yeah.
And I think you look at the players, I think you've got a couple in there. I would say that...
There's a couple of shithouses in there.
Yeah, I would say Bowen,
Yeah.
Kudos
would love it.
Antonio, definitely.
Oh,
yes.
yeah. Okay,
Yes.
now you're convincing me.
Who would love it? And what I can see, look, Pete's.
I know they're not a defensive manager anymore. But
Pete's putting something out there,
Yeah.
and he wants someone just to embrace it.
Yeah.
So I feel like
that's why he said Dan Burn for England left back.
Yeah, the amount of
Lions watch.
the amount of things I've done for Pete out of social pride. We haven't got all day for that. But what I could potentially see happening, and Andy's going to come in and puncture this balloon as well, I expect.
He will do that.
Maybe an all-timer from Areola, where Man City just can't score.
A bit like Ludik McCloskey. What was it, McCloskey?
What, for in the 95 season?
Well, he was West Ham goalkeeper.
Where Blackburn won the league.
That's right.
Yeah, against Man United. Blackburn play, West Ham play Man United on the last
right,
day.
and he kept clean sheet.
Let's hope for the tension created by that first, and then maybe the exploit. Let's take it step by step. But I think what was the notable thing from Spurs Man City in the week, if we go over to the City side, is the fact that City get nervous.
Yeah.
Like they're not robots, and like there was loads of human error in that Spurs game. And I know people will sit around and go, well, Man City always get it done. They got it done. But we've talked a lot in recent weeks, haven't we, about the fact that luck is a huge part of it. And Manchester City had a huge, huge bit of luck in the week. It was really interesting hearing Kyle Walker talk about afterwards how he really struggled to sleep the night before. And he tried to get like half an hour on the morning of the game.
Antonio versus Son in that foot race, though. I mean, he's not reaching the 6-yard box to put that away.
Yeah,
18-yard box rather.
Maybe not. He's going to have to chip it from the halfway line.
Yeah, may as well.
Stefan Ortega will be playing, of course, because Edison's got
He had a fractured eye socket in the end.
eye socket.
Oh.
Still didn't want to come off.
No, well,
Bad bang.
that says it was a terrible bonk.
Could they not just get presumably the concussion protocol isn't in place, could they not just get a little mask to wear? A little mask?
Let me just repeat.
Right, yeah.
He's got a fractured eye socket.
You can still wear a mask for that, can't you?
You can wear a
if
mask, you
want.
just can't play football at the same time.
If he was to get...
Tell me you didn't go to medical school without telling me you didn't go to medical school.
He's turned up with a pussy riot balaclava. This isn't going to protect him at all.
If he was to get hit in the face with the ball, it would hurt a lot. I think.
Get a mask, baby.
Yeah,
Come on, the Phantom of the Opera.
I
That
think-
would enhance his tattooed neck.
I think what Pep said is, I would consider blinding you in one eye for the first Premier League title. But we've done this three times in a row.
Yeah.
We don't need you for the fourth. Put your feet up.
Yeah. Well, Ortega's obviously proved his worth as well. And I want to have another pop at this because I thought you were a touch harsh on Ortega.
I think on reflection, I got
I apologise.
some quite passive-aggressive abuse on Twitter from people in football who actually know what they're talking about,
Right.
which normally is the litmus test about whether I've been talking absolute shit or not.
Yep.
I actually said that the coverage of his performance was over the top. I didn't say he didn't play well.
Can I stand up for you here?
Yes, Andy.
I think it's the same syndrome as, do you remember the season that Liverpool won the Champions League last in 18-19? And in the last group stage match, Alisson made that save right at the end against Napoli from Arkadiusz Milik. And everyone was like, oh, it's a brilliant save. It's one of the best saves ever made. It wasn't. It was just the moment. It was the importance of the save. And I think sometimes we put the importance of the moment ahead of the actual competence of the moment.
You get the flowers not shitting your pants at a really important moment.
Yeah.
That's the point there.
The expectation is low because the moment is so important.
Yeah, exactly.
So Marcus, actually, you can have a pop at me for being too harsh on Stefan Ortega if you like. I'll simply refer you to my representative Andy Brassel, who will defend my behalf. Andy's now my barrister for all my terrible takes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, you've got a great opportunity, Andy.
Look forward to the Michael Cohen Trump breakup during the game later.
And yes, I have been paying Andy hush money.
Well, he's not worked. You can't shut him up. Anyway, Ortega's going to be in. He's made some very crucial saves. Some of the best saves I've ever seen recently.
Yeah.
And if Manchester City win the league, then his place will be his name will be front and centre, surely. But all joking aside, obviously, Man City have 88 points. Arsenal have 86. Arsenal have a superior goal difference. So Manchester City... They know they have to win.
Yeah, they have to win. They can't draw.
Although, would it be... I mean, Arsenal fans always going about Spurs being Spursy and all that kind of stuff. Would it be the most Arsenal thing of all time if Sean Dyche was to stop them and Man City drew West Ham?
So that for me is... So I was trying to work out this morning what would be the most entertaining outcome for me as a neutral. And I think the entertaining outcome would be Man City failing to win.
An Arsenal fan.
To win. I just think that would put such a weird bookend on the season. Of course, because the games are happening at the same time... You might get the old-fashioned transistor radio to the old man's ear in the stand type thing.
So you're thinking what could happen is what happened to Dortmund at the end of last season, where they just had to beat Mainz, for example.
And they couldn't.
And they didn't.
Oh, that was piss poor.
But it leaves you with a feeling of, even though Bayern will always be the champions from 2023, when I think of that title race, I feel like I've got a really empty stomach.
Yeah.
You know? It's a strange feeling.
Do you remember when Man City won it with the famous Aguero goal? And
I don't. Would you talk me through that?
Stefan Ortega scored. Man United's game finished early, didn't it? And they had won. Were they playing Sunderland?
I think
they were Sunderland.
And they were all standing around waiting because
they couldn't believe it.
The added time was much longer in the Man City game. So it will be an interesting thing. The worst thing that can happen for us as neutrals and as football fans and people listening to this who don't support either club is that Man City go race into a 3-0 lead after 20 minutes and then that's that.
And that'll probably happen.
It's very, very good chance that'll happen.
Very good chance that will be happening.
Oh, by the way, have you seen, has anyone checked on the Mirror's John Cross?
What's happened?
Well, the Opta supercomputer's back again.
Well, the Opta supercomputer has given Manchester City an 84% chance of winning the title
Which
now.
seems low.
At the time of recording.
It does seem a bit low. I'd have thought it had been in the 90s.
I totally agree with you.
But we keep mentioning this Opta supercomputer. I've Googled hard on this, and I cannot find a single reference to what it does, where it is, like what's powering the supercomputer.
I get terrified when I hear you've been Googling hard.
Well, there's a guy there's a FM football manager YouTuber who Tom FM, I believe his name is, and he ran the AFCON predictions from Opta on Football Manager 100 times, and I think they did it 10,000 times. He did it on Football Manager 100 times. The top 5 are about the same.
Well, yeah.
So it's like, well.
But if the Opta supercomputer, Peter, so as Marcus and I have said, we're surprised it's so low, this chance that Man City have of winning the Premier League this season. If they get it wrong a certain amount of times in a row, does it get downgraded to just a computer?
Yeah, a good point.
And if they keep
actually,
getting it right, does it become like an ultra computer? It's like a Pokemon evolution.
I mean, is it doing like player on player decision making, or they just pump and...
Do you want me to out myself as a moron? Because I'm happy to.
Please do.
I find it hard to understand how they could... So I know it's run on data and on numbers and on probabilities and everything like that, and I totally understand the inputs. But when you're dealing with human beings so often, there's so
as
much...
we have to do.
It's not like markets where it's like the data's slightly different. I think you're dealing with like decision-making of human beings, and I think there's so many things that can be variables in that. Like... Sometimes, for example, a great example of this would be, why did the Arsenal fans set off all those fireworks outside the hotel they thought Man City was staying in?
To get to the other side.
Yeah, exactly. No, but to think because they wanted to make the Man City players tired, and that's a really massive part of this.
Supercomputer, insert lasagna protocol.
Is that how you have to talk to a supercomputer?
Well, as we know, Ederson won't be playing for Manchester
He's only got
City.
one eye.
He's only got one eye, and
He's got 4 eyes because he's a little tattoo on his neck.
Oh, that's why he's so good. He uses that one as an
The
eye.
kinky little face.
Yes, well, he missed the FA Cup final as well, which is a shame for him. Did you see that his personal phone number was leaked before the game against Spurs?
We don't want to see that. We don't want.
He's just had it tattooed.
Would you like to hear some of the messages he got from some Arsenal fans or some other fans?
We do like to see that.
Yeah.
Please carry on.
Hello, you beautiful Brazilian god. How much for a good night tonight? Now, I think that they've misunderstood.
weird.
Yeah,
Is that Jim Campbell?
maybe.
That's like toilet door stuff, isn't it?
It is. What was he going to be like? You know, if he was in goal, Son runs through on goal. Could save this, or I could think more about that message and what I could get up to tonight.
What would you send then?
This from another fan. This is a proper Arsenal fan. Don't let in any howlers tonight, you shitter. Up the Arsenal.
Yeah.
Oh,
Bit more traditional.
Pete, what would you do?
Well, me and a co-host on a radio show once gave out each other's phone numbers on air.
Yeah, you got sacked for that, didn't you?
No, just had that. And,
You got sacked for the hobgoblin.
The hobgoblin.
Yeah.
And,
What was the hobgoblin?
He let the hobgoblin.
Oh, sorry, what?
So hobgoblin's the beer.
Right, okay.
There's a
promotional
mascot,
PR mascot.
who was an actual hobgoblin who came into their studio, and Pete let him speak on the air for an hour and a half to the point where he was just talking about his divorce. And it was unpaid for advertorial.
Yeah. We didn't even get free hobgoblin. But
They got fired for that.
I still,
Absolute.
Yeah.
I still have.
No, it's XFM.
I still have my phone number. Like people would ring me every now and again or text me every now and again, but I just still got the same phone number.
Oh, so you still get it?
So I've still got the same phone. I don't think people still kind of get involved.
No.
I remember a
keep in touch?
DHL driver texted me and Peter Beardsley phone number once. That's unprofessional.
Yeah.
That is
Well,
unprofessional.
I told you, a friend of a friend used to work with this guy, and he used to work for a bank. And had Arsene Wenger's details, and
Nice,
basically broke the rules and handed his number to some non-supporting Arsenal friends.
Really?
Was it
Yeah.
pre-GDPR?
You can't do that.
You
Must be,
imagine
yeah.
that most kind of public figures have about 10 different numbers, and friends and family get one, agent
not
gets
back
the
in those
other,
days.
and you're having the I
Exactly.
found
now a footballer will change their number probably 8 times a season.
yeah,
Right.
I found a phone in the back of a taxi, and it had Manny Pacquiao's number on.
That's right. I remember that. Peter, what would you send to Ederson then if you were trying to put him off?
Ooh, what do you mean? What before the match?
People had Ederson's phone number. They wanted Man City to-
you got a pretty eye socket.
Why don't
Shame if someone broke it with their hip
Did you send him the complete transcript of the chat between you and the Hobgoblin? and by the time he finished
Just
reading
the
it,
breakdown.
by the time he was reading it, there's 2 goals in and there's only 2 minutes to go.
Can you just make it clear that he's the Hobgoblin?
Sorry, yes.
Yeah.
It's
Did you
Hobgoblin
still-
Square.
I'm fascinated. Do you still keep in touch with him?
No, we
Seem to
spoke
share a
about
lot.
it on another
We talked
show.
about a Luke and
Yeah.
Pete show, and then someone actually messaged in saying, my friend left my work to become the Hobgoblin. Did he look like this, and was it around this time? And it actually was.
Yeah.
And we might have been able to track him
Well,
down. Anyway,
Good luck to him.
Yes.
Arsenal face Everton at home.
Yeah.
Now, interesting, the CEO of the Premier League, Richard Masters,
the Premier League's Hobgoblin, if you will.
and I will, has chosen to go to watch Arsenal versus Everton.
Why is he leaked that himself and thinks anyone cares?
I think that he's going there because if he went to the other one, people go, "Oh, well, the conspiracy, you knew."
No, he's gone there because he's resident in London.
100%.
Like everyone.
Yeah. He lives in London.
Yeah.
It's easy for him.
Yeah.
It'll-
Is Addison Lee? He'll be parked outside my old house next to the Emirates,
Yeah.
guaranteed.
Yeah.
With the driver sat in the driver's seat, so you don't get a yellow thing, whatever you call it.
Ticket, a parking ticket.
A parking
yeah.
ticket.
Yeah.
I should be more familiar with those.
Yeah, you really should start paying attention. Can't just put them in the glove box.
Speak to my lawyer.
Decore has warned Arsenal that Everton are ready to play the troublemaker role.
And I do feel for Everton a bit because they've had a great season on the pitch. They've done really well. Off the pitch, they're a disaster. But they can't really affect this, can they?
No.
Like, it's actually, well, they kind of can, but it doesn't really necessarily matter. They could give Arsenal a bloody nose here, but in a way, it only matters if Man City do what they do.
It does matter for Everton. I mean, if you think about the financial difficulties they're in, for crying out loud, and have been for a while, and of course the 777 takeover now remains in serious doubt.
Would you not want to sort of help Yeah, I mean...
Well, what I was going to say is that what do they think? That every Premier League place is worth 4 million or something?
But they can't move up a place anyway.
But they can hold the place. So Brentford can catch them.
Their financial situation is such that would really not make
it's a drop in a bucket.
What will
it's
make
a start, Andy.
What will make a difference is if 777 are off the table and some of the other preferred bidders get a little bit further down the line. Because it looks like, sort of hearing from people around Everton who follow them very closely, that there might be a bit of light at the end of the tunnel. And that would be really good.
That would be really good. But when you say it doesn't really matter about 4 million quid that they could save if
relatively
Brentford,
it does not matter.
Well, let me finish, Andy.
Yeah,
because
Andy.
if you have investors and takeover people, as they're called, coming into the club, and you think, okay, well, let's have a look. Do we want to buy this? What's more impressive? You meet Sean Dyche and all that kind of stuff, and they're stood there, or you can meet Sean Dyche and one or two others, and they've got 4 million quid right in front of them.
Yeah,
because I'm sure that's what happens.
No, Andy, answer it. It's a serious question.
I think that's more impressive. If you turned up and Dyche is waving 4 million quid, you go, I'll tell you what, they're doing better than what we thought.
It's 3 million whatever and £2 off because I bought a vest.
I was going to say, I can take it back. It's a bit tight. You want the receipt?
A man with a really sore throat goes, there you go. There's 36 hours of interest.
Yeah. Well, to put it another way, exactly. So to put it another way, I think it's between 3.5, 4 million per place in the Premier League this season.
I'm rounding it up.
Yeah, you have rounded it up.
Yeah.
Their net debt, according to the 2023 annual report, is a debt of 330.6 million.
Right.
I mean, I would say that they could be affecting a title charge from Man City, which is effectively a team who have taken their own kind of fair play problems and shoved them in the glove box. They have effectively done that.
And driven that car off a cliff. Yeah. Absolutely.
Into the sea.
Oh, good luck with the Man City fans. They don't get bored of it. They do not get bored of telling you.
No, they don't.
On the old Twitter.
They do not. But Arsenal, though, they know...
This title is tainted.
I'd love
that
someone
Champions League win, tainted.
Well, hang on, this title has not been decided.
Treble is tainted.
It's not been decided yet, this title. Arsenal will need to win this fixture. They want to get it done and dusted early. But again, Sean Dyche and Everton are Sean Dyche and Everton. And they're not going to roll over. And they're on a fantastic run of form.
Would you like to see someone egg Richard Masters?
No.
He's nothing. YouTube.
Yeah, we are on YouTube now, Marcus. Yeah.
No, that was just an itch.
But there's something about egging public figures, which is a very British tradition.
It was milkshakes, wasn't it? When all the far right.
No one gets hurt with an egg. It's just embarrassing, isn't it?
You can't be endorsing.
Prescott might punch you.
I am endorsing
in football stadiums.
Okay, if you see Richard Masters on that short walk between the Emirates Stadium and the Addison Lee, and you happen to have an egg in your pocket,
how do you hide eggs around the? Can you get an egg? Can you sneak an egg into a Premier League ground?
It's not getting picked up by a scanner. An egg.
Yeah, but what if it could be quite dangerous? You could heat it in a microwave. You know, like they're like taking grenades, aren't they?
So you're taking a microwave with you as well?
Yeah, taking a microwave.
He used to live just outside, didn't he? And presumably you're still welcome there.
Exactly, yeah. I could
use the facilities anytime.
Leg it towards the Emirates with an egg like Batman and a big bomb.
How big is it?
I'm going to egg Richard Masters.
It's a dinosaur egg.
Ostrich egg.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy.
That's true. They're still around, famously. Mikel Arteta, we're not sure if Arsenal are going to win the league or not. It's unlikely.
We are sure.
The supercomputer's only given them 16% chance today.
Yeah,
but what Mikel Arteta has won, other than the hearts and minds of the Arsenal faithful, he has won the Royal Order of Isabella the Catholic. It's a Spanish civil order of chivalry and honour.
Oh.
And they say chivalry is dead, Andy.
Yeah, well, I think if there was anything that was going to propel him to get the award, it would be the fact that his hair didn't move at all under the Manchester rain at Old Trafford last week, which is very impressive.
If people listening to this haven't, because the video of him getting invested with this honour is on Twitter to watch, which is now known as X, as we all know.
That's right, yeah.
If you are listening to this show and you are not linking Richard Keys to this video, you are letting everyone down.
That's
Richard
right. Keys
needs to know about this. And I'm going to end by saying she's been quite earnest. It looked like a lovely occasion for him and his family. He looked super proud. He was really well turned out. His family looked very happy. And I don't know what it is, but it's obviously very important. Good on him.
Good on him.
I felt very, very pleased and proud for him.
Well done, Mickey Arteta. Right.
Should he wear it?
Yeah.
On the final day?
I think so.
I think he should.
Indeed he should. What is Jürgen Klopp going to wear on the final day? Because, of course...
A baseball cap.
It's his final game as manager.
trousers.
After...
Would you like to see him on his final day? Baseball cap, Marcus.
Shirt.
Complete Billy Bollocks.
No
trousers.
socks and shoes. No trousers or pants.
I really would.
Touchline attire.
There's something more.
Soften his anger that we've seen so many times this season.
There's something more sort of weird and pervy, isn't there? If you saw a nude man walking down the street, you think,
Yeah.
well, something's happened. What's going on there?
Right.
Whereas if it's a bloke who's got like full top half is fully dressed,
Bum bag and penis out.
There's a story there. Isn't there?
Sex
There's a
person.
story.
Yeah.
you'd be like
Bernie the Blind Bear.
Was it? Yeah, because he's got just a waistcoat, right?
Well, it's just normally the Bayern shirt,
Yeah.
or like the San Antonio Spurs Coyote.
But they've presumably got they've got no appendage.
I was about to say
speak
they're
of.
not human beings,
But they should have.
Yeah, and you can't have a mascot penis on
No,
the
has,
outfit.
yeah. Hang on, are you offended when you just see a dog walking around? Unbelievable! Look at that, it's another new dog. They're everywhere. They're everywhere in this city.
What is he doing?
Decorum.
He stopped. What is he doing? What is he doing?
As you know, Andy, on my travels in South America, I have
Here we
seen
go.
in
Yeah.
Buenos Aires a dog wearing a pair of jeans.
Yeah, and
Keys on
some
the belt.
keys.
Mobile
Keys
phone,
the
Keys,
weekend.
mobile phone, absolutely. And although I do feel in hindsight and in foresight that it was definitely a touristy trap thing. You take a photo of it, right? That's 5 pesos. or whatever.
yeah.
But in Peru, I did see in the beautiful city of Arequipa a dog trotting up the high street with a pair of blue shorts on. No one else around. There was no explanation
I
for
like
it.
the dog having the mobile phone on its belt because if you don't pay 5 pesos, he's going to call his agent. Image rights.
Yeah. So I'm sure Jürgen Klopp will be fully clothed for the game.
Would it undermine the
regrettably.
tribute to Jurgen Klopp's career at Liverpool if he came out with his cock and balls out?
Or if he's wearing white trousers, little wee stain. Would it
yeah,
ruin?
you have to ruin
would
it.
it
You have
ruin
to ruin it.
the entirety of his, Champions League
Yes,
winning
yes,
career
it
at
would.
Liverpool?
Yes, it would.
Such a moneyed and storied club. Just a little pea stain.
We're doing a
Just
mailbag
little
special on
wee-
him tomorrow.
Fucking ball bag special. Yeah, you're right.
little wee
It would ruin
Isn't
everything.
that weird? Aren't we pathetic human beings?
Or would it be worse if the mosaic that's going to be up in the stands was completely new?
They've got mental.
Oh God!
We ran out of trouser-coloured
Why
mosaic
did
tiles.
we ask Pete Donaldson?
We painted
to
ourselves in
mock
a
up
corner here now. We
Nobody
can't
asked
do
me. I just got in.
this? Well, look, yes, it is his last game.
Andy's gone.
Andy's away with the goodness knows what's. Last game as Liverpool manager. It's fair to say it's been a success.
It's been an incredible.
It's fair to
It's
say.
been an incredible journey. He's been an amazing manager for Liverpool. He's been great
Statesman.
for the Premier League as well. I think he's going to be sadly missed. I don't know where he's going to pop up next. Andy, is there any chat about that?
Don't say pop.
Sorry.
Pop out next. Who's going to pop out next?
He's been very firm.
Andy, you're usually above/below all of this. Andy.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
He's been very clear.
Andy, has he got one eye on a job?
Yes. It is proper stuff.
Oh God. Jesus. Goodness me. For God's sake.
Come on.
I'm actually genuinely interested in what he's going to do next.
Yeah.
He's been very clear that he's going on holiday, hasn't he?
Right,
Because
okay.
he's talked a lot about how
One of those resorts.
Could be.
yeah, he's talked a lot about what it's taken out of him, hasn't he? So I think it deserves the break, and I think it seemed like maybe a halfway point for him, a good halfway point for him, would be the German national team. He's someone who's so involved that it's quite difficult to imagine him taking a national team job.
I agree
because
with you.
He likes that everyday involvement. But if there was going to be a time, maybe it would be this one after the Euros. So you're sort of, semi-recuperating, getting your energy back, all that sort of stuff, while still staying in a massive job in football. But that's been kiboshed because Julian Nagelsmann signed a contract extension. So I suspect he has it in mind that he's going to have a year off. He'll get a really good offer in October, November and take that. Because that's what happened at Liverpool. He was totally burnt out at the end of Dortmund. And he intended to have a decent amount of time off. And how long did he have off? What, 4, 5 months?
Yeah.
That's all you need.
It's all you need. I can't see him managing another club.
People couldn't imagine him at another club after Mainz because he was so synonymous with them over a decade and a half.
But no one
And then
knows,
he-
no,
then
because
he
no
goes
one
to-
knows who Mainz are.
Yeah,
then
but
he goes to Dortmund. No, but we're talking about Klopp. We're not talking about your perception of him.
No, but the quality he showed at
Bit of a
Mainz.
shame.
It's he was always going to go on and do something else, and then obviously what he did at Dortmund and Liverpool. These are such kind of special clubs, if you like, that I just the type of club that he would. I can't take him in a generic.
No, but that's what Klopp does. he makes it special.
Yeah,
I think
that's right.
I mean, because
So
like Luke was just saying then, who are Mainz? They were a club that Jürgen Klopp made himself a star at, and he made them synonymous with him.
Sure. What kind of league of club would you say would be perfect for Jürgen Klopp? Will he take that kind of Real Barcelona level?
Well, I think that's the interesting. I think the interesting thing is
Atleti.
Bayern are really struggling to find a manager.
Right.
I think they take Thomas Tuchel back for next season because they're really struggling to get someone.
God, that would be a bit of humble pie for them, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
that's what they're talking.
I'm sure he wouldn't rub it in.
No, that's what I mean. Of all the
Harry
of all
Kane
the
wants
people.
him there, apparently.
I think maybe if you look a little bit further down the line, maybe Klopp bites the bullet and does a Bayern.
I don't know.
Like
I can't
Pete
see.
said.
So we're gonna do Klopp tomorrow, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
So
We
we'll do
are.
that in depth then. But
Yeah.
I sorry to wrestle it back, but I wanted to say that what's actually interesting here is that if you look at the transition Liverpool are now going to have to go through, they're going through what maybe, and all these situations are different. And I'm not comparing these managers or these legacies because I don't think it's that helpful. But in principle, it's similar. They're going to go through now. Big club going to go through what Arsenal have been through, what Man United have been through. And it's a huge amount of transition for them. I wouldn't be surprised if Liverpool fans are going to see this send-off tomorrow as emotional for all the obvious reasons, but also a little bit of trepidation as well.
But they're
He's
doing
leaving.
it from a position of strength that those other clubs weren't.
I would
Fine,
agree with that.
fine.
But the point still.
But it's still a lot of unknown.
There's still uncertainty,
Yeah.
of course.
Pep Linders, who was for many, many months being talked about as a potential successor to Klopp, to Liverpool have in the not too distant past, they've graduated assistants there, Shankly and Paisley and all the rest of it. And now he's obviously announced he's going to Red Bull Salzburg to do his thing there as the manager. And Liverpool confirmed this morning that Thiago Alcantara and Joel Matip are going to leave the club in the summer. There'll be other players that are also going to move on. And then you've, of course, got Arne Slot coming in, who's not managed at this level before. There's a lot of things whirling around. It's going to be a pretty uncertain summer for Liverpool fans, So it's a very interesting situation.
Is there an argument that Liverpool not winning the league almost does Slot a favour?
Yes, I think so.
definitely.
Because you're,
Absolutely right.
it's
Absolutely
not
right.
impossible to follow.
But as Luke said, we're going to be discussing Klopp's legacy and all that kind of stuff tomorrow more on the mailbag. But I don't.
We won't talk about him getting his cock and balls.
Yeah, any
out. That'd be
wee stuff.
disrespectful.
Any
Might
wee
do a
patches?
bit.
Right,
Might do a
okay,
bit.
right.
I think we've covered that quite frankly.
Yeah. Wish he would cover it.
But it will change the landscape in Liverpool, well, the city and the Premier League and all the rest of it, but specifically at Liverpool Football Club, of course, when Klopp leaves, and it has thrown people. I mean, the news coming out of Liverpool this week is that John Aldridge, a very famous Liverpool player, of course, announced to his Twitter followers that he'd stepped on a rake. And I assume this is linked to Jürgen.
It's all going
departing.
wrong. It's all collapsing.
Yeah, Big John, Real Aldo, 474 as he is on X. The last time I'll do gardening in my bare feet, folks.
Yeah.
I've only seen what happened to me on the TV and movies, etc. Fell back onto a rake, and the hardest part was pulling it out of my foot.
Oh.
Talk about painful. Just ordered Crocs.
Stay out the garden.
Western
Aldridge.
hospital staff were excellent, even though they was snowed under.
He's as a man who is basically embarked upon a career using his feet. It's page one stuff to not be gardening in your bare feet.
No.
Anyway,
Yeah.
what
You're
he's
just
doing there, I have no idea.
You're just a shit Ian Bush.
Yeah,
Yeah?
a good one. Yeah,
Nice, thank you.
It doesn't really rhyme with rush, does it? That's the problem. Written down, that would probably work.
Definitely rhymes with Rush, doesn't it?
Rush
Rush
and Bush.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
but
for
it
us.
just-
Rush and Bush.
Can you rhyme something with John Aldridge?
No.
It's like
Unless
the
it's the
word
word
orange. Nothing
bridge.
rhymes with it. Yeah.
Fair enough. Coming up after the break, everybody, we've got Leeds gubbing Norwich. We've got Sheffield United versus Spurs and a fizzer update. See you in a moment.
Are you excited to get started? Don't push me. You're on television. Doesn't look good. Doesn't look good being manhandled by security, Eric. Man United, a big club.
Welcome back to the Football Ramble, everybody. That's Andy's friend Gary Cottrell trying to speak to Eric Ten Hag when Old Ten has started at Manchester United.
Which that was when Eric Ten Hag, you were like, God, that's getting him a lot of credit with normal football fans. What he needs to do is if Eric wants to get his reputation back, he needs to do one of two things. One, win quite a lot of games with Man United, which seem to be beyond him. Secondly, probably the more easy option, do a big deep dive interview with Gary Cottrell.
Yeah.
And just mug him off for an hour.
Yeah, that'd be enjoyable. Last night, Leeds United marched into the playoff final with a 4-0 victory against Norwich City.
They marched on together, you could say.
I will say that.
Yeah.
0-0 in the first leg, and then they battered them at
Absolutely
Ellen Road.
gubbed them. Lovely free kick to open.
Oh, wasn't it?
beauty.
It
A
was
little cheeky cheekster.
Joe Bryan-esque or Gary McAllister-esque.
That was his first goal for the club, wasn't it?
Yes,
Yeah, it was.
It was indeed.
The keeper wasn't expecting it.
He was not.
Yeah, it was a lovely one. I mean, I tell you what, when Ellen Road's pumping like that, there's a few finer places.
It's
in
an amazing
football.
place.
It really is.
It's
And
funny because if you look at it on paper, 90 points, Leeds should be up. You know,
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But I think that's looking at the season as a whole. If you look at the last couple of weeks, they have looked nowhere near at it. And this was a massive
They needed
response
this
to that. Yeah, they
momentum.
did. It's not just the result, it's the performance, isn't it?
They needed it. And I know with the law of averages, to produce two back-to-back big performances in what is effectively a cup competition is quite rare. However, as you say, Andy, like I know a few Leeds fans, they were all really worried about going into the playoffs.
We're getting
They
yourself
looked
in a
down
much
on
better
them.
headspace, aren't
Exactly,
you? Yeah.
exactly. As I say, you very much march into it, and who would deny them that final? Well, of course, that'll be played this evening when Southampton host West Bromwich.
We're all baggies,
Albion.
aren't we? We're all baggies.
Well, some of us.
We're all
some of us
baggies.
not. Right.
In this studio today, we're all baggies.
Who would you fancy then to go up?
I fancy Leeds to go up.
Is that because of what they did last night
Well,
and all of this season?
well, I just
They're the best team in the playoffs. on
Yeah,
paper.
yeah,
There's no two ways about
Yeah,
it.
so it's the right answer then, but you're telling me it's not the right answer.
Well, no, I'm just giving you all the answers.
I
just
know
want
all
you
the
to-
I know
letting
all
you
the
explain.
possible
So
answers.
are you
Sure, you're
gonna-
working out Opta supercomputer.
Yeah. Do you agree with
I
me?
give Leeds an 86% chance of getting promoted.
He agrees with
Bloop,
me.
bloop, bleep. You got to say bloop, bloop, bleep at the end.
Now, what about this? David Wagner has been sacked this morning.
The David Wagner group
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just the
fouled on
David-
the topics, didn't
They
he?
did.
He fouled on the topics last night. And Wagner is an interesting situation because famously promotes Huddersfield Town, right? Massive achievement. And look at that. They've just been relegated to League One in the right old state. But Andy, is it fair to say, because he's obviously been around Europe a bit as well?
It's not worked at any other club, pretty much. So
And is it worth making excuses for what happened at Schalke because Schalke are a bit of a basket case, or is that?
Yeah, but got young boys to a point where they weren't going to win the league, which is almost impossible, really, in Switzerland. I mean, they ideally don't sack coaches halfway through the season. Look, I think Chris Sutton talked about it, and obviously he watches Norwich a lot more than me afterwards.
Carry on.
And he was saying it's not just the results, because given what they've got, they did quite well to get here, but the style. You expect Norwich to die with their boots on, really, and that really has been the case in the last couple of Premier League seasons they've played, but they've done it in a particular style. And if you're not going to win and have that footballing identity, you've got a problem, which is probably what's done Wagner in the end, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's quite brutal getting binned. But then they lost in such a bad way last night.
But it was the end. That is the end
That's
of
the
the
end of
season,
the
isn't
season,
it? So it's, yeah. Leeds United, of course, have been in 5 Football League playoffs and never been promoted. So this is a chance to get that monkey off the back.
There was a weird, I'll probably get this wrong, but there was also a weird situation with Huddersfield actually under Wagner. I don't think they won any of the games in the playoffs. I think they went through the semi-final on penalties
the
and
one
the
on
final
pens in the
penalty.
final, didn't they?
Right.
So, I mean, it can be done.
It can be done, everybody, as Huddersfield.
Work on your pens.
proved.
Yeah.
Exactly. Speaking of penalties, we go to Major League Soccer for a Fizzer update. He's not been given a penalty, but his side were given a couple of them in an extraordinary game when Portland Timbers beat San Jose Earthquake 4-2. It's Fizzer's finest hour, I think we can all agree.
In his whole career?
Yeah, that scoreline doesn't tell the whole story, though, does it?
Well, it doesn't, because San Jose were 2-0 up and cruising, and then there was a very controversial penalty given to Portland Timbers. It was given for handball on the line. I mean, they do have VAR. The referee gave him a straight red, and the looks on the faces of those San Jose players was very much suggested, I think you might have got this wrong, Mr. Referee.
Why wasn't it VAR then?
Well, they do have, it would have been checked, but
right.
I didn't watch the live game. Because why would I?
Yeah.
It's Fizzer, but I did. Yeah, but they got it back to 4-2. It was an incredible turnaround. 3 goals in the final 20 minutes, and Peter, what a man! He's got them going.
I mean, he's got them going in one football match.
Can I just say, it was
Phil
so
Neville doesn't
bad.
get me going, I tell you what.
It was so bad before this comeback that one of the commentators on the Portland Timbers official radio feed was caught on a hot mic saying, "You want to come and coach this team? It can't be any worse." It just can't.
I thought the hot mic
channeling
was.
David Moyes.
I thought the hot mic was just somebody from the actual Portland Timbers setup, which I would find more amusing.
Well, that's
but, I
even
mean,
worse then, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is even worse.
Would you fancy old Moisey in MLS?
I think he'd fancy it.
I think,
but it's a
yeah.
bit foreign for him, isn't it? I don't think,
Yeah, but I mean, he's been married in Spain.
I think he thinks of England as being going somewhere foreign.
No, I don't think. I think it'd be harsh.
I think the thing is, Moyes is famously someone who's an old style manager who likes to really control everything. They found it weird in Spain, for example, when you talk about going over like to Real Sociedad, for example, how he went and did his own scouting, and like the president and board members and other members of the coaching staff go, "We've got staff who can do that for you," and he's like, "No, I insist. It's really important.
Do you
I
want
cover
another
anything." I mean, I'm guessing if he was going to go and do that in MLS, he's right. I'm just going off on a scouting mission, and it takes so long to get anywhere in America because it's such a vast country. You'll come back like 7 games later.
Where's your fucking trains?
On the motorbike with Phil Brown.
Yeah.
Now you're talking. Before we go back to the Premier League, elsewhere in MLS, a raccoon invaded a pitch during Philadelphia's game against New York City on Wednesday night, which was very, very enjoyable.
I saw that. Yeah, the footage was amazing.
It was class.
It's amazing. Just
Show me the
because-
heat map.
Yeah, because I'd love to see a heat map, but also when you see a raccoon in the US,
Yeah.
for British people, it's amazing because you just don't get them here.
No, that's
and
right.
it's a very, very exotic animal to us. So
Yeah.
to see one on a football pitch is remarkable.
And the way they
But
put
they
the
are
bin over it
everywhere.
as well, the cool tip was quite. Normally, if you put animals in bins, you get in trouble.
yeah,
Cat
they-
bin lady.
yeah,
famously.
But
Yes,
the,
exactly.
the thing is, raccoons are vicious.
Nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You corner a raccoon, you're in big trouble.
That's right.
Well, they're quite solitary animals, so they have to just kind of fight for themselves effectively.
They do.
Right.
And they got I very much enjoy a raccoon because because badgers are reportedly everywhere in the UK, but you know what I can say.
I've seen one once.
I've seen one once
Yeah.
in recent memory, but I just like that raccoons have got lovely human hands.
They've got hands like humans, and they manipulate their hands like a human as well.
well, they
yeah.
wash their food
Yeah,
before they
yeah.
eat stuff.
and they make great hats.
Can we do podcasts about raccoons? I love them.
What?
Don't suggest we're going to skin this raccoon.
No,
Why not?
Well, unless you're thinking about putting a live raccoon on your head as a hat.
I just,
You Cyril fucking Sneer.
I think a bit Davy Crockett vibes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I just don't think you should need to be killing animals for a hat.
No.
Well, I'm not saying you should. I'm just saying that factually, they make great hats.
You see, I thought
Right.
you were talking about with their human hands. They are
They
great.
they're milliners.
Artisan hats.
Now back to the Premier League as promised, where Spurs need to win to guarantee 5th spot.
Oh, that'll go well then, won't it? That'll go really
They're
well.
historically great on the final day, aren't
That'll
they?
be splendid.
Yeah. Who are you supporting for this one, Spurs fans?
They've got their voucher in their hands, have they?
They do. Might I remind everybody?
3 goals for the price of 1 at Bramall Lane, is it? still?
Yes, please, 4. They did lose 5-1 to already relegated 10-man Newcastle back in 2016, just in case they'd forgotten that, which made Arsenal overtake them in second. So it is a big game for Spurs because they need to win it to guarantee Europa League football and presumably ever so slightly ease Ange Postecoglou's anger and frustrations, which are still there. Further details have come to light about Postecoglou's frustrations on that Tuesday night against Manchester City. Apparently some Spurs staff had been relaxed about losing because of Arsenal's title chances, of course. According to The Athletic, they said the prospect of losing to City had been a theme of jokes among a minority of staff for the last week. When one member of the support staff joked that Spurs should play a youth team against Manchester City, the manager was furious.
Yeah, and rightly so. And I think if this came from the Daily Mail or some terrible tabloid that just likes to chuck stuff out there, I would treat it differently. But the fact that it's come from Athletic, who are pretty well ensconced in the club and have good contacts, and the journalists there are genuinely of a pretty good standard. I mean, that is a damning indictment of a top-level professional club. I mean, he should. I mean, I don't know the detail, of course, and I don't want to go over the top about it. But in my view, that is. I mean, they should lose their job for that.
But the thing that would annoy you if you're Ange Postecoglou, I would think, is not the stuff around this. And of course, you know, like he said, you can't control what the fans think, for example, and he shouldn't really be getting after paying customers who've paid a lot of money to see their team all year. But the problem really is you go back before the Burnley game, the 4 games they lose ahead of that. Really.
Sure, but that's not what's in question here.
No, but I know it's not in question here. What I am saying is all this bullshit around the City game is obscuring what the actual problem is.
Yeah.
This is not the reason why they didn't make the top 4.
I agree with that.
That other bit before is the reason that they didn't make the top 4.
Look,
And
we're all agreed there.
while they're getting distracted by this, it's taking away the focus from what the actual problem is, what Spurs' failings have been. Because since the turn of the year, even though the results haven't been great, the results have been better than the performances, and that is the problem.
But and I think that's true. But I think we're talking about two separate things. I think on this specific talking point that Marcus has brought in, it's so corrosive. If it's true, I mean, I don't know if it is true or not, but if it is true,
Well, it maybe offers a clue to why the stuff before has happened.
possibly, yeah, they could be linked. It's so corrosive. You can't have that kind of attitude knocking about, and the demarcation between the fan base and the club is necessary. And I guess on the him coating off a fan as he was caught on camera doing during the City game. It's really difficult to know what the detail of that is. I personally have always been of the opinion that if fans are going to tear strips off managers and players, don't be surprised if you get a bit back.
For sure.
That's fine, I think. So we don't know the detail on that. But ultimately, it's summed up well with what Marcus was saying. I think you were saying, Marcus, on Wednesday about when Ange Postecoglou said, I've just realised that the foundations here are really fragile. Like this is not what I'm used to. Like I was at a club before this that used to win stuff all the time, and I know it's in Scotland or whatever, but we need to get that kind of winning mentality. And I feel like he has gone on a journey this last week where at the start of the week, as he said himself, I was happy to indulge the jokes and the banter about it because that's fine. And as the weeks pressed on and we've gone to where we are now, I think he's just like, fucking hell, I've got so much work to do here to weed this stuff out.
But is it really that serious? Is a joke just a joke? I mean, of course you want...
We don't have the
Spurs to
context,
win.
do we?
Yeah, I just get the sense that this is a bit of a... Not a useful smokescreen, but I just think it's just a bit of end-of-season fatigue. He's on a bad run of form, and I think he's just kind of overblowing what...
But they still had a chance. But he would have been desperate to manage in the Champions League next season.
Absolutely.
And they still had a chance at that point of doing that. And even if it is in jest, this is top level sport,
It's
right?
also managers will use results and performances to spur their players on. And if they'd have put in a big performance, and actually if they'd have beaten the side, who everyone still regards as the best team in Europe, despite them not being in the Champions League final, you could say, right, lads, they needed to win that game, and we went out and beat them. And it can be used for a number of ways. I understand it from your average Spurs fan, who sort of think, well, obviously, I'd like to play Champions League, but if we lose, not the worst thing in the world because that stops them. I get that totally.
Yeah,
I'm not, as I say, and I don't think anybody's trying to sort of dive into the stands like Eric Dyer and go, right, why are you not supporting your team? Why are you not singing? I don't think anybody's saying that. There's been plenty of Spurs media and stuff saying, look, this is why we didn't want to win the game because of Arsenal, and you're here for 3 or 4 years, we're here for life, kind of thing. So from the fans' point of view, absolutely, I understand it. But this is coming from, or the suggestion is it's inside the club.
Yeah.
And also, when you have as I say, when Postecoglou reacted when the fan was reportedly saying certain things, blah, 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 it's like, just don't be overt about it.
I'm with Pete. I think if you look at what they actually produced on the pitch against Manchester City, what they produced on the pitch against Manchester City was good enough to get a result.
It wasn't too bad.
And I just sort of get the sense that if people feel comfortable making jokes about, some kind of conspiracy in front of Ange, he's only got himself to blame because he's quite affable. So don't be so affable. Be more serious and weird.
I think he's got an undercurrent of genuine danger.
Oh yeah, massively. And he's a very serious and ambitious football manager.
I can see
but alongside that, and it's sad that the game kind of weeds out those kind of quite affable, interesting characters that turn into weird robots that you can't make a joke around. So
is that why you're not a top level Premier League?
That's why I'm not a top Premier League anything.
Yeah, I think we can all agree though that despite them being distinctly second favourites for winning the league title, Arsenal fans will be enjoying all this chat around Spurs. So they seem to.
And I think it's got to the point now on the other side of the fence, given the games at Bramall Lane against Sheffield United. To all the Sheffield United fans listening, you're wondering why we're not talking about them. The kindest thing we can do at this point is not talk about your team at all.
Yeah.
There are
insert Simpsons meme. He's already dead.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. There are some other games in the Premier League which have got things riding on them. Chelsea are in the driving seat for 6th spot.
Fucking headline at it. I'll tell you what
about that.
I was excited about that.
Well, I mean,
I'm in the 6th lane.
Yeah.
Wow.
Peter, if they beat Bournemouth, no one can catch them.
They are going to beat Bournemouth. and
Wow,
no one will catch them.
It gets even more boring and they're playing Bournemouth. Imagine that. Wow. Am I right in saying that the team that no one likes could finish in the position that would only be a European spot if a certain team wins the cup, and they're playing against a team who is safely in 11th and no one has an opinion on?
Yeah,
Okay, good.
That's about it. That's about it.
Put that at the top of the running order.
We could have Chelsea. We could have or Newcastle in the Europa Conference League. Andy, you've talked about the financial disparities between Premier League sides and other Europa Conference League sides. It would take the biscuit if it was Newcastle or Chelsea in that
I thought you were
competition.
going to say you talked about the financial advantages to yourself if Newcastle would reach the Europa Conference League. Yes, we talked about that on Ramble Reacts on Wednesday night. Yeah.
You very much did, Andy. You very much did. Now, Manchester United, they could finish 8th, which would be their lowest ever finish in the Premier League. That was the big thing. Let's make it happen.
That was the big thing in midweek. If Newcastle could finish above Man United for the first time in the Premier League era.
Yeah.
It's remarkable,
which is amazing.
that, isn't it?
And
a lovely little.
I would also say the most damning statistic of this entire Man United foul jamboree is a goal difference of -3.
At this
I
stage.
think you can. The points totals gets a bit obscure. People don't really remember.
Bad for the
points
Premier
totals.
League that they're that high in the league and they've got that goal difference. I think. Surely
the amount of gravity that and attention that club generates, the amount of money that flows through that club, and you sit there at the end of the season potentially with a goal difference of worse than -3, and you should be labelled a prat.
Yes.
And realistically, their best efforts will get them a 0. You know what I mean? Against Brighton.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if they
Congratulations, you're where you started.
so they have to better Newcastle's result.
Yeah.
Because of that goal difference. Because Newcastle have +21. They have to better Newcastle's result to not finish 8th and clinch that 7th spot, and thus avoiding much embarrassment.
I mean, it's also. I mean, you put it in context as well. You know, some of these teams in the Premier League this season, Luton have conceded 81 goals. Burnley have conceded 76 goals. Sheffield United have conceded 101 goals. Even West Ham have conceded 71, which is almost 2 a game. Yeah. And Man United sit there on -3.
Love it.
Somehow they cannot get a positive goal difference out of that
They've
lot.
managed to do it. Now, Erik ten Hag's had to clarify that Manchester United do in fact want to keep Bruno Fernandes at the club. This is after he said on Wednesday night, Fernandes, "I will be here if the club wants me to be a part of the future." Wayne Rooney gave his verdict on Wednesday night as well. He said, "You have to build the team around Bruno Fernandes. I'd keep the young players, and then all the other players, get rid of them." Other than Tom Heaton.
Wow, I think Tom Heaton is so important to the fabric of the club that he goes without saying.
He's young at heart.
I mean, is it fair to say that Erik ten Hag's view on whether the club should keep Bruno Fernandes is really not that important?
Exactly, yeah, you don't get a say. But there's been huge talk that there's going to be a massive turnover of players at United, right? They're going to lose a lot of players. What's not been mentioned, I don't think, enough.
Buying them.
Well, that's the thing. It's only Varane who's already announced he's leaving. Amrabat, who's on loan, but they've got an option to.
Yeah.
Martial, they've got an option to extend, which they probably won't. Right?
They're not taking that up, no.
And Johnny Evans and Tom Heaton, they're the only ones out of contract. So all the others are going to have to find someone to buy.
And it is the hardest thing. Selling players. I mean, Saudi Arabia is going to be busy this summer.
Oh, big time.
Really, that's
they should set
isn't
up a charter flight just from Manchester for the whole summer.
Oh, dear me. I mean, Manchester United, look, I've thoroughly enjoyed them this season, again, for all the wrong reasons.
So is Eric, the most entertaining team in the league.
Yeah, I mean, I assume that they would want European football next season just for a little bit of extra revenue, because they've got to fix the roof somehow, man.
Yeah.
I don't think the Conference League is going to fix that roof.
It's not.
I've got to tell you.
Well, the problem is that they say you should fix the roof while the sun's shining, but it's never sunshine. It's always raining, so you can't.
Oh, dear me. But Peter,
Old Trafford at the moment is just like one big Morrissey song, isn't it?
It is a bit.
It is a bit.
Not
like
the
that.
racist bits, though.
Not the racist.
Not the stuff he's done later.
No.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
They should have organised.
Morrissey.
They should have organised some friendlies in Australia if they wanted to build up the fat stacks.
Well, if they wanted to prove that they're a big club, I mean, Newcastle United. Their Premier League season will finish against Brentford, of course. But Peter, there's one more game to look forward to because immediately after Newcastle United and Spurs finish their Premier League seasons, they are, of course, off to Australia to play a friendly on Wednesday. I mean, if Postecoglou was angry with, has anyone told him about Australia? Yeah. You'd think he would be happy with
He's
that.
going anywhere, I expect.
Yeah.
But
he didn't expect to work, though. He didn't expect to work.
If they're going to do this, they should do a couple of things. Obviously, Ange gets to be built in a bit of time with his family. But at the top of the show, we heard from Chris Edwards in Melbourne.
Yeah.
get on the flight back.
Exactly.
Yes.
They're all going to come back.
Stowaway.
Stow away on there,
Yeah.
and you get a free flight back.
There you are.
You have to stay till September, to be fair, but
Yeah, you
Yeah.
get the best part of the weather, which usually
no.
isn't that great.
it might be a problem because you might be an Australian living in London without a visa,
Ah, yes.
and that stuff never happens.
You've got, a
Never
real, you've got
happens.
a real bee in your bonnet about people outstaying their visas in this country, don't you?
No, I've got a real beard. No,
With the media representing immigrants as being non-Australian.
Anyway,
Let me be clear.
I think we've heard enough.
I've got a
Luke.
bee in my
I
bonnet
think
about
we've-
Australian people.
I think, yeah. Yeah, now go down the other list of the countries. You've started with A, and do the others. Kieran Trippier's come out and said that this is not great preparation for the Euros. Eddie Howe has questioned this move.
Spoiler alert:
Trippier
none of the players want to do it.
Yeah.
Mate,
obviously.
Trippier needs more games under his belt
you know what?
because did you see his performance against Man United?
Yeah, I did think to myself, yeah, he's right. And then I thought, a bit more game time, though.
But the problem is with Kieran Trippier, it's a very thin line you've got to tread because if he has too many games, he is also bad.
Are you ready for a simple game of categories?
Jürgen Klopp also says you're an encyclopedia of football.
A what?
An encyclopedia of football.
I don't know what that means.
Penultimate game of the season, gentlemen,
Why is it the penultimate?
because we're going to be having a title-deciding playoff next week between our top three for this season. So do keep your eyes out
special
for that one.
show.
Special show. Jack's Encyclopedia, not exclusive, but focused. Let's say everyone's focused on the. They've got their eyes on the prize, to be quite frank. Marcus kept his lineal belt against Luke and Jim last week. We have got one eye on the final fixture of the season, but we're going to kick things off with you, Mr. Andy Brasso.
Okay.
Right. Aston Villa managers in the Premier League era. Aston
it's a
Villa
beauty.
managers in the Premier League era, not including caretakers.
Give me John Gregory.
You can have John Gregory.
I will have Gerard Houllier.
I like it.
Nice one, Marcus.
They look great.
I'll go for Steven Gerrard.
Steven Gerrard. Yes.
Martin O'Neill.
Paul Lambert.
Paul Lambert, 2012 to 2015.
Very good.
I suddenly doubt myself.
Paul Lambert had 3 years there.
Yeah.
Unai Emery.
Unai Emery.
Yeah. Well,
To present.
it still counts. He's doing it
I
now.
didn't say it shouldn't.
Brucey.
Brucey, 2016 to 2018.
Ron Atkinson.
Good one.
Ron Atkinson.
He would have been there
91 to 94.
Yeah, when the Premier League started.
Yeah.
Let's go for. I just try to go for really obvious ones that you guys will try and get. Tactics Tim Sherwood.
God, blimey, great shout.
2015.
You don't remember it?
One
Yeah.
year,
It's brief, wasn't it? I guess.
one gilet. Great times. Andy.
I'm stuck in early 90s.
Yeah.
Struggling now.
It's Torres to give Chelsea a place in the Champions League final. The headline has been written.
Sometimes with a large data set like Andy's brain, it's hard to sort of write through all
he
of,
needs to
all of the-
defrag,
all of
doesn't
the
he?
figures.
It's a lot of
detritus.
You need to
Give him
defrag
the
your brain. Oh, sorry. No. All right, Marcus, who have you got for us? Big names in here.
He's had a long time to think here.
Yeah.
He's had the whole of Andy's to think as well.
It's Torres to give Chelsea a place in the Champions League final. The headline has been written.
Oh, dear. Luke, you need one, don't you?
I do need one. I'll give you 4 if you like.
Yeah, okay.
Brian Little, Graham Taylor, Remy Gard, Alex McLeish.
Stuff.
Well played, well played.
Brian Little, Graham
Nice.
Taylor's in there, Dean Smith.
I'm sorry, but that's actually a disqualification because you're meant to give one answer. You're not allowed to. No, you're not allowed to give more than one answer. So you should be disqualified for that.
Alex McLeish, Remy
happy with
Gard, Roberto Di Matteo.
Di Matteo.
Oh, Di Matteo. Yeah, okay.
He's a
He wasn't
one.
there for long, was he?
Well, obviously, he won 1 in 12.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
That's not a extended contract kind of performance, to be honest. Right, number 2.
Luke Moore deserved that.
Luke Moore did deserve that.
buddy.
Marcus Speller. Last week we did managers. This week we are doing players. Name every Premier League player of the season since the award began in 94-95.
Surely Mohamed Salah.
Yeah, it's got to be, surely.
Correct. 2017-2018.
I'm going for like longest time served and being good at the same time. So I'm
Right.
going to go Frank Lampard.
You can have Frank Lampard. He got that in 2005.
Can I have Phil Foden?
He's in the shortlist this year, but he's not got there just yet.
He's not
I'll just
been
give
lucky.
him already.
Do not,
Lucky.
dear.
do not prejudge the judging.
No.
Good Lord. Unless you're part of the judging, you might be.
Mm-hmm.
You're very well connected, Andy. Do you know something we don't know? Marcus?
Surely Cristiano Ronaldo.
Has to be.
2007 and 2008.
Okay, my logic here is that when Leicester won the Premier League title, Jamie Vardy won it.
Right. Okay.
So my answer is Jamie Vardy.
Well played.
Didn't he show you working out there?
Yeah.
Alan Shearer.
Alan Shearer. 94, 95.
Okay.
Like I said in the last round, a lot of big players here for obvious reasons.
N'Golo Kante?
Correct.
Well
2016,
played, well
2017. Beautiful.
Kevin De Bruyne.
Has to be, surely.
Kevin De Bruyne. 2020 and 2022
When he sings, I
as
think
well.
I've got it wrong.
Yeah. Has anyone said this one already? Wayne Rooney?
2010.
Thierry Henry.
Thierry Henry.
Has to have won
04 and 06.
This is good, Marcus. I've got a feeling Vincent Kompany's won it.
I mean, out of all of the players. 2012,
Well
correct.
played, well played.
I'm struggling big time
I'm
now.
struggling. Eric Cantona.
You're all sick in the head. You're all absolutely. You've gone mad. You've gone absolutely insane.
Eric Cantona was a really good player, mate.
He was a really good player, but
Yeah, and he had a distinctly very good season as well, where he should have won it, in my opinion. Luke for the win.
look for the win.
Big chance this.
Look
Belt's
for
on
the
the
win.
line, Wolsey.
Look
Hey,
for the
come
win.
on. Let's have a bit of Gary Neville here.
When Liverpool won the league,
Come on.
It's Torres to give Chelsea
Keep doing your working out.
in the Champions League final.
Nemanja Vidic, fuck it.
He won it twice.
Bloody hell. Fair play.
He won it a couple times, didn't he?
He
Vidic?
won it twice.
Yeah.
2009 and 2011.
Fair play.
I mean, guys.
I was going to go Virgil van Dijk when I was talking about Liverpool winning the title.
Virgil van Dijk, he won it in 2019. Ruud van Nistelrooy, Ruben Dias, Peter Schmeichel, Patrick Vieira, Michael Owen.
Did Kevin Phillips win it?
Kevin Phillips did win it. At the turn of the millennium. The millennium bug was looming large and Kevin Phillips was doing it.
Who else you got?
Luis Suarez, Junior Paulista,
Juninho.
Gareth
Blimey.
Bale, Ljungberg, Haaland, Hazard, Dwight York.
Tell you what, I'm looking forward to this top three face-off next week. Basically,
Yeah.
I'm going to have the same feeling listening to that as Manchester United players will watching the Champions League.
My next guess was going to be Gerrard, and he hasn't won it, has he?
No, he wasn't on the list. No.
Well played. Look, you hammered us with Villa. You got that one. The belt is currently yours.
Final game of the season, it's come back to me.
That's right.
And so is the belt on the line on Monday?
The belt is on a helicopter
Oh, Tuesday,
floating
Tuesday,
between
apparently.
your house and
Yeah.
Marcus's house.
Oh, well, there we are.
That's actually not that far.
Not that far, really. Could take the tube, really.
As the crow flies.
Just tell us, is Richard Masters in South London or is he in
South
West
London,
London?
right,
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
You're watching a clip from the Football Ramble podcast. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss an upload. A single upload. Don't miss out on the uploads. The uploads are important.